Hi, welcome to That's So You. This is episode 12. My name is Diane, aka Mrs. You, and this is a podcast mainly about knitting, but now and then about crochet and other crafty things. I'm based in London. I live with my family. I have 4 boys, triplets, and a little girl, and I also live with my husband, Mr. You. Okay, so just so I don't forget, let me just get out all the places where you can find me. You can find me on Ravelry as YummyTripletMummy, on Instagram as Mrs. You Makes, and also on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Mrs. You Makes, and there's also a Ravelry group called Mrs. You Makes too. I sell my patterns on Ravelry and also on Etsy and Craftsy, and I also sell my handmade stitch markers on Etsy too, and the shop name is of course Mrs. You Makes. So now that that is all out of the way, let's get started with the podcast. Today I'll be showing you some of my finished objects. My notes are down there. My finished objects, what's on the needles, goodies, and I'll also go through the word for the month as well. Okay, so let's get started. Now, if I am moving around a lot, that's just because right now I'm currently kneeling down next to the window. Normally I use the tablet to record on, but today I'm trying out the laptop again. Anytime I record on the tablet, the memory gets full and I'm having to keep deleting videos and things, so I don't want to have to keep going through that all the time. So I've downloaded the same app or software that I use on the tablet for editing. I've downloaded that onto the laptop. It's a free trial, I think. So yeah, I'm just going to use the laptop for today, see how that goes. And yeah, this is at the moment the best place to go in terms of lighting, so seems good so far. So yeah, if I do shift and move around a lot, you know why. Okay, so finished objects. I have how many? 2 finished objects to show you. They're both socks. The first are my Frankenstein socks. I haven't woven in the end on this one just yet. Yeah, I finished these on Thursday. Today is Wednesday the 6th of September, by the way. Yeah, so I finished these on Thursday. It's just gone 12:30. I finished these on Thursday. They were entered into the Socket to Summer Cal hosted by Amanda of the Not a Podcast. So yeah, I wanted to get them done in time so I could post them there, and this is them. If you haven't heard of Frankenstein socks before, or I think sometimes people call them scrappy socks, it's just where you get scraps of yarn and then make socks out of them. So this is the first one I finished some time ago. I'll try and remember what the yarns were. Actually, I think I've gone through some of these in the previous episodes, so I'll just do them quickly now. This was Rico Design Yarns, I believe. This again, Rico. This was the design line by Jazz Color by Erica Knight. This is Whimsy Yarns, Malabrigo. No, this is not Whimsy Yarns. This is Rosie's Moments. Malabrigo. This is Whimsy Yarns. This is Malabrigo. Nora George. Lamington Lass. The Yarn Yard. Malabrigo. I believe this is Eden Cottage. This one was a swap yarn I got, and the person wasn't sure what the yarn was. And then on this sock, I have the same one as there. I just continued on. This is For the Love of Yarn UK. This is Knit Pick Stroll. This one is Eden Cottage. Yep, that's Eden Cottage. This is Opal. This one is Lana Grossa. Just get a bit closer. This is Knit Picks again. 3rd Volt yarns, Malabrigo, Fiber Spate, Opal. There's a little grey there, which I think it's Rico yarns again, and this one is it's the most recent one I used for one of my other sock projects. Stahl and Schaefer or something like that. I can't remember. It was a yarn that I hadn't really used before, but it's Fortissima is the brand name for the particular sock yarn. Yeah, so these socks were made taller than I usually do in my socks. Normally I make my socks anywhere between 40 and 50 rows long, but I made these I think I did them about 40 to 50. Yeah, I did this about 50 rows long, and then I did them 60 rows long tall, and then I did a 20 row cuff, which is my usual. And the leg, I did a Judy's Magic cast on, I think that's what it's called. And then yeah, just did my usual leg length, foot length, which is about 61 the camera's there, 61 rows. And then I worked a German short row heel on these. So yeah, these are going to be my house socks, which is why I made them taller than usual, because normally I don't like tall socks, but since I'm going to only be wearing these at home, they'll be nice for when the weather gets a lot colder. I will definitely make more Frankenstein socks, because it's a great way to use up yarn, get something that has a nice patterned effect on it, and also you don't have to worry about finding a pair. So the more of these I make, the more options I have for looks. The next FO I have, again as I said, is another pair of socks, and these are the last socks in the Fairly Odd Socks collection, which is a design collection that I've been working on for the past few months. Technically I did finish the whole collection last month, but I wanted to do a second sample of the last socks, so I've now done that, just putting them on the blockers. Yes, so testing is underway for that, and as I'm on the subject, testing has finished for the Join the Crew socks, so I will be working on finishing off the pattern for it. It's written up, I just need to make some slight changes and make some additions to it, and then the Join the Crew socks should hopefully be released on Friday. So the fourth sock in the collection are the meandering socks. So if you saw last episode, you would have seen one of these completed already, and that would have been this one, I think. Yeah. So now you can see both of the socks together. It's a bit washed out because of the light. These, the yellow is a lot darker, as is the color on this. Yeah. So with this sock, as you can see, it has a zigzag design on it. The yarn I've used for them is 3rd Volt yarns in the Mordor colorway, and this is Eden Cottage Milburn in the, I think it's mustard colorway. And you can see it has a contrasting heel, toe and cuff. And on this I've done the opposite in terms of the colors, but then also the design on this one, the lighting's not so great. If I close the curtain for a second, you might be able to see it. No, still not so good, but if you check out my Ravelry project page, you'll be able to see it a lot better. This one, it has a zigzag, but the zigzag goes from here, and then once it gets to the heel section, it then goes in the other direction, so it's more of a elongated V shape. You can kind of see a little bit there, yeah. So that was the whole concept for the Fairly Odd Socks collection, is their socks that are the same but slightly different in a way. So this was the second sample of the pattern. This was the first sample of the pattern where I've used a zigzag. I've got stripes on the, you can see that a lot better there, where there's, I've used stripes for the colors on this one, and then there's one sock where it's just plain. So I wanted to have different options where you have one stripy version and one where they're solids but you just swap the colors around. So testing should be finished on this on the 17th, I think is the deadline. So then once testing is done, it will be added to the ebook along with the others. You can currently get the full ebook available, but I'll talk about that a little later on. So yeah, they are my finished objects. Anything else to say about this? Nothing really. It's the same as the other ones. The cuff, again, I did a 20-row cuff. With this one, I did work a German short row heel, but I did a sort of an adapted German short row heel. You can kind of see it a little better there, the V. I did a kind of adapted German short row heel, which I've been working on for a while, but I want to perfect it a bit more before I add it into the actual pattern instructions. And these were worked toe up, so I did Judy's Magic cast on there. And oh yes, I also did a tubular bind off for this, simply because I know many people use Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, but that doesn't really work for me. I always find most of the time it's too it just looks a bit too, what's the word? You know what I mean. It curls out a bit too much, especially when it's not being worn. So I worked the a tubular cast off instead, which, even though it does take a bit more time, I do like the look of it and the stretch that you get as well. So yeah, and I did the same for this as well. I worked a tubular cast off for this too. So yeah, so that's all of my finished objects. As I said, just socks for the moment. Now onto my whips and with what's on the needles. This one, I don't think, no, it wouldn't have been seen. I started this after the last episode, and it's the Blacklight Sweater by Tin Can Knits. This is what I'm making for the triple arters. The yarn I'm using is Artisanal Alpaca definition sock, and the colorway is Crocodile. I've almost finished the body. I have about 1 to 2 inches left, and then I'll just work the sleeves. As you can see, the only real detail in the pattern is this garter panel along the sleeve. So it is a very, very, very simple project to start. I did initially start this, and then I had to frog it because the cast on that I used just wasn't big enough. So I restarted it using the tubular cast on method, and I also went up in needle size as well, and that's worked a whole lot better. I tried it on one of the boys, Mr., because his head is the largest, even though body-wise he's the smallest. He has the largest head out of the 3 of them, and yeah, it's a good size on him. So body-wise, I'm using Mr. Man, as he's the tallest, to estimate how long I want the body to be. I'm working towards the one suggested in the pattern, but then as I get a bit closer to that, I'll just see how it looks on him, because even though Mr. is shorter, he'll be able to grow into it over time, and then further down the line it will then become Little Miss's one. And if you can hear noises in the background, that's Little Miss on her brother's tablet. I've just allowed her to go on it a little bit whilst I'm doing this, so that way she gets a little bit occupied. Yeah, so far I've used one skein to do all of this. This is what's left over of the skein, so I think 2 skeins will be enough to get this done, which is great because I have 6 skeins of this yarn altogether. I want to use some to also make a breathing space sweater for myself. So if I use 2 for this, I'll need about 2 to 3 for the breathing space, and so that means there'll be 1 or 2 left over that I could possibly use for Little Miss or to make something else for the boys. Okay, yeah, nothing else I can really say about this. The needles I'm using are my Addy, are these Addy? Yeah, Addy, I think these are the sock rockets. And I can't remember now whether these is the 4 or the 4.5, but I think it's the 4. Okay, oh, and for my socks, I made them, oh, sorry. I use the 2.25mm needles. I can't remember what they are in US sizes, but yeah, I'm sure most of you will know that. But yeah, 2.25s are my usual sock needles. I use my higher sharps. They are my go-to needles for socks. Okay, so that goes back in there. This was living in my pumpkin bag, which I won as a prize from the crafty nomad, who is Kim. And my next project is in another bag from Kim. It's my Diva bag, and this came along with the pumpkin bag as well. So this is a sweater for me. It is a Caramel by Isabel Kramer. Let me just sort it out. I am about 2 or 3 rows away. I'll say, yeah, 2 or 3 rows away from separating the sleeves. I had hoped to have gone past that yesterday, but I got busy with other things, so there. And again, it's a bit washed out. The yarns I'm using are Araucania, I hope I've said that right, merino lace, which is a DK weight, and that's the black. And for the contrasting colors, I'm using 3rd Volt Yarns Echo DK in 10, which is the bottom ones here, the first 4 rows there, and also in, let me make sure I get this right, Defense Against the Dark Hearts, which is the more pinky colors there. I'll just show you the skeins then. So this is what, yes, this I won as a prize for a cowl that was being held on the group, on the 3rd Volt Yarns group, and this was a birthday gift given to me by Lola, who was the dyer behind 3rd Volt Yarns, so I thought they would go great together. Again, it's washed out a bit, but they're very similar, just that this has darker blacks and brighter pinks and purple colors, and this is a more of a bluey, reddishy, mauvey, I would say. So I thought they would blend really well. As you can see here, it does look like it's just one skein or one colorway that's there, but it's actually 2. So yeah, I'm on the 2nd skein of the Araucania, and it's looking like I'm going to have to get another black yarn. I only had 2 of those, and according to the pattern, the amount I had was enough So I'm not sure if it's my gauge. I did do a gauge swatch and it did come out fine. So it could just be that or something else. I don't know. So I'm going to have to get some other yarn, because this particular one I bought as a D-stash, and it has now it's been discontinued. I've checked on Ravelry a few times. No one else has this same yarn in black. So I'll have to just try and find an alternative yarn that looks similar. There's a couple I've seen that I might go for. So hopefully they will work. So I'm going to continue on this until I get close to finishing the black. And then I will get the other skein and work that in gradually, just in case there are issues with the colors, if they don't match exactly. So yeah, so it's a very simple, straightforward pattern. It is just a stocking stitch all the way through, and you're just working increases on raglan increases. And yeah, once that's done, it's just a straight body, which I don't really mind at the moment. I am trying to make more garments this year, so something that's simple and straightforward is fine with me, because I've got the color work element to it. Yeah, that is all the finished objects I do have. Not finished whips. Oh, there was another finished object I have. It's not really a finished object. It's something else crafty that I did, but it's not with me here. With the boys going back to school, they went back today. I was sorting through their things and noticed that one of the boys had a hole in his bag. If I can, I'll put a picture somewhere on the screen. So there's no way I'm buying another bag. Last year, they went through about 2 or 3 bags each. So I wasn't going to buy another one. I thought, let me see if I can darn the hole. I attempted to darn it, but it was taking too long to do. So instead, I had a bit of fabric left over from other projects that I've done and used that to make a patch over it. So I'll put a picture of that up on the screen as well. It worked out well. It's noticeable, but not completely noticeable. It's kind of blends in because the colors are similar. The color of the fabric is similar to the other colors that are there, so it doesn't look too weird. If it was something that I had noticed earlier, I probably would have bought a patch that had some sort of design or picture or character, or just something that looked like it's obviously a patch, but it's been sewn on as a form of decoration, as opposed to something that's been sewn on as a repair. But you know, it looks good. They're all happy, so that's fine. Right, so yeah, that's the only other crafty stuff I have been doing. So now I've shown you all of my projects. I'm hoping that I've given you all the information I can. Yeah, I pretty much have, I think. So yeah, so that's everything project related. So on to goodies. I do have 3 sets of goodies to show you. 2 of them are yarn related, and apologies if I do keep looking away from the camera. I'm not used to recording on a laptop and I forget that the camera lens is up there and instead of looking at myself. So okay, the first goodie I have is 3rd Volt yarns again. If you've watched this enough, you'll know that 3rd Volt yarns are one of my favorite indie dyers. Again, this is not showing it very well, but I will try and put a picture up, or you could also check out my Ravelry stash page. So this is 3rd Volt Yarns Librarian Sock, which is a 75% superwash blue face Leicester and nylon blend, and the colorway is Blast Ended Screwed, which I am told is a Harry Potter reference. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I've never watched any of the films, never watched any of the books, so I went for this purely because of the way it looks. that is still very, very blown out. That's probably as close as I can get to the actual colors. But yeah, so I can't wait to do something lovely with this. I'm not sure exactly what I'll do, whether it will be socks or go towards a shawl or something, or go towards a garment. I'm not sure yet, but you know, we'll see over time. The next yarn goodie I have was purchased through a D-stash, and this is a Fiber Space Scrumptious Lace in the Midnight color. It is 45% silk, 55% merino, and this is just absolutely luscious. Again, it's not doing any justice on here. It's a lot darker, very much a midnight bluey sort of color. I think for this I'm most likely going to either do a shawl, or there is a Martin Story sort of lacy cardigan pattern called Burgundy, which I have from a magazine subscription, and I have been wanting to make that for some time, so I might use this for that. And meterage wise, I have enough for my size, so we'll see. I will most likely use it for that. Yeah, so speaking of meters, this has 1000 meters per 100 grams, and the blast ended scroot was 425 meters per 100 grams. Yeah, so that's all my yarny goodies. I do have one non-yarny goodie, which was also a bargain because I bought it from a charity shop. And it was just more of, it wasn't even something I was intending to go in and buy. Myself and Jimmy Jr., the second of the triplets, were going out to the shop. We passed the charity shop, and in the window there were some toy cars, and there was one a Batman, I think it was Batman style, and some other superhero style cars and comics. So he looked in the window, wanted to check it out. We went in, asked about how much it was and everything, and then we were about to leave. Then I saw another family looking in the window pointing at the same thing, and I thought, I've told him we can possibly buy it on the way back. If when we come back it's not gone, he's going to be absolutely devastated. And it was a really, really good price because it was in a charity shop. And it was a nice toy car. It had a button that you press and does all this other, had all these mechanisms and things to it. So I thought, okay, let's go in and buy it. So as he was going to the cashier to pay for it, I looked at the book section and came across this. It's called Country Weekend Socks by Madeline Weston. This was £3.75. There, I'll show you a picture of all the socks. I think there should be somewhere. Here we go. So these are all the socks in there. Now, all of these socks aren't to my taste, but I thought just having a nice range of socks will help me with ideas for future sock designs, and also I could get ideas for variations in heel and toe methods. Now, whilst I do like most of the designs, some of them are only for one size. And also, yeah, some of them are only done for one size, so it may mean that I might have to try and do some adaptations for some, or increase needle sizes, things like that. So that's the only real issue I have with the pattern, but other than that, it seems really good. Yeah, and most of them are done with the usual heel gusset and flap, which I don't really like doing. I prefer either a fish lips kiss or any other type, or a German short row is my favorite, or any other type of short row heel. But that was the only issue I had with it, is that most of them are only written for one size, and there are a few that are more, what I would say are more house socks. But you know, it'll be interesting to go through this and just yeah, try out some new things. So they are all of my goodies. So next is waiting on the wings. In terms of what projects I'm going to work on next, there's nothing really specific. The only things I would like to work on sometime in the near future would be, as I mentioned, breathing space and possibly the burgundy cardigan. But now that I've done my sock designs, the next things I'll be working on will be shawl designs. So I haven't definitely got an idea on what exactly I'll be doing next. It all just depends on what yarns become available to me. There is one I'm hoping to be able to get, and then if I do get that, I know already what design I'll be doing. If not, it'll be some of the others which I haven't fully planned out the actual design for yet. So yeah, shawls are going to be the main thing I'll be working on for the next few months, as well as the garment for myself and the kiddies. Okay, so that's pretty much most of it done. I'm going to clear away all these things and then we will move on to the word for the month. Okay, so now it's time for the word for the month. This is the part of the podcast where I share some scripture. I tend to do this every other episode, so usually about once a month. If this isn't for you, that's fine. I hope to see you again for the next episode, which should hopefully be in the next 2 weeks. Or you can check out some of my other videos. I have some crafty tutorials and some recipe videos. I'm hoping to be able to record a recipe video today or tomorrow, so do look out for that too. And if you are going, then please do come back again soon. If you are staying, the word of the month, as I said, is where I share some scripture, just something to hopefully encourage you and see you through for, as it is, the rest of the month. So the word for the month is Psalms 84 verse 10. One day in the courtyards of your temple is better than 1,000 days anywhere else. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the temple of my God than live in the homes of the wicked. So for me, this just means that being in God's presence is better than being somewhere where I might be in a lavish environment or in a situation where I have some sort of high status. So that it's better to be in a low position in God's presence than to be at the top of your game in a situation where you're either out of God's will or doing things that you don't want to be doing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that if you are in a low position, you should think, oh, well, I'm in God's presence, so I should stay there. You should always try to improve and better yourself in whatever situation that you are in. But what it means is that it's not your position that's important. It's the environment that's important. It's the people who are around you that is important. So you shouldn't always just strive to be at the top, to have that status just for the sake of having it. But you should think, is this the best situation or environment for me to be ahead of in terms of leadership? Is this the best in terms of your job? It could be, if you're looking for a promotion, yes, you might be the top boss or manager or something, but is this really the environment that you want to be somebody who's a leader in? Or are there better places that you can go to? There are some jobs out there that's, for some people, they will just work and work and work to be at the top. But in order to get there, there are things that they might have to do which others might frown on or see as being immoral. But To them, it's like, well, you know what? I'm the boss, I'm the top dog, I'm the manager, I'm the top salesperson. But things that they've done to get there may not be what's ideal for other people. They might see it as, yes, it's a great opportunity, this promotion might bring me more money, but I don't want to do what it takes or what they think it takes in order to get there. Sorry for the noise if it's distracting you. So some situations might be better just for your own moral compass, just for your own peace of mind, just for your own conscience, to be in a position where you may not have that status, because you know that in terms of yourself and who you are, it's better for you. You don't want to change who you are. You don't want to be dragged into things that don't sit right with you. I know for me, there are certain places or jobs I wouldn't do, even though I know that, yes, you'll do this well, yes, you can gain lots of money from it, yes, you can go high up, your status will increase, but in all the kind of job and things it would involve me doing are things that I wouldn't want to do, because it would involve deceiving people, it would involve misleading people and manipulating them. So for me, this verse just says it's better to be in a position where you know you are right with yourself, you know that you are not out of line with God's will, you know that you are in his presence, and not have that high status, than to be in a position where you might be living lavishly, you might have everything you want, you might be surrounded by all these great and glorious things, but having those things means, in order to keep them and maintain them, or even in order to get them, means that you've done some things which you may not be happy or proud about. So I just hope that going forward, we can all just think more about the way we impact other people and how our decisions impact other people, and not just think of it in the sense of how it can benefit us or what we can get, but just making sure that in everything that we do, there is more of a purpose behind it, and it's not taking us away from that. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and that you do look forward for the next one, and that we will see you again for the next episode. And again, don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel, and I will try to get a recipe video up and other crafty recipe tutorials up, especially now that the triple artists are back in school. So have a great rest of the week and see you soon. Bye.